You know that weird moment when you look at someone's life and you can't figure out how they're doing fine financially, even though they're clearly not making crazy money. Like they're not rich, they're not driving a brand new Tesla, they're not posting vacation photos from Greece every month, but they sleep at night. Their car breaks down and it's annoying, not catastrophic. Their rent goes up and they adjust, not panic. And then you look at your own situation and you're like, why does every little thing feel like it could knock me over? Here's the part nobody tells you. There's a tiny money milestone that matters way more than the big flashy numbers people obsess over. And it's not $70,000. It's not even $20,000. It's your first $7,000. Yeah, $7,000. And before you roll your eyes and go, bro, how is $7,000 more important than $70,000? Stick with me, because this is one of those things that's not about the math first. It's about what happens to your brain and what that does to every decision you make after. My name is Ben, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, financial psychology, and why some people build wealth almost effortlessly, while others make decent money and still feel like they're one flat tire away from disaster. If you want the real mechanics behind wealth building, not just generic advice, hit subscribe. And if this video changes the way you think about money, you already know what to do. Now, let's talk about why your first $7,000 matters more than $70,000. Let me paint you a picture. Life without a savings buffer isn't just hard, it's exhausting. You're constantly doing mental math, not the fun kind, the survival kind. You're in the grocery store calculating whether you should put something back. You're checking your bank account before buying gas. Your friend texts, "Wanna grab dinner?" And you're suddenly busy because you can't admit a $25 meal would throw off your week. And the most brutal part? It's not even the money, it's the mental bandwidth. When you have no buffer, every small expense becomes a threat. Your brain starts scanning for danger all day like you're living in the wilderness. Rent, car repair, medical bill, job security, credit card due date. That's why you can make okay money and still feel broke. Because you're not operating in a financial system. You're operating in survival mode. And in survival mode, your brain is not thinking about investing, opportunities, side income, long-term goals. Your brain is thinking about the next 14 days. It's like trying to plan your future while your house is on fire. So why $7,000? Because for most Americans, $7,000 is the first number that covers the majority of life punches that actually knock people out. Think about the biggest common emergencies. Medical bills that land somewhere between $500 and $3,000. Car repairs that cost $800 to $2,500. Travel for a family emergency that hits you out of nowhere. Losing a job for a month or two while you find something else. A surprise bill that shows up at the worst possible time. Most financial disasters that keep people stuck are not $50,000 disasters. They're $700 to $3,000 disasters that happen when your balance is basically zero. So $7,000 isn't magical because it's huge. It's magical because it's the first number where your life stops feeling fragile. You go from "one mistake can ruin me" to "okay, I can handle this." And that shift is everything. Because once you can handle emergencies, you stop borrowing money to survive. You stop putting life on a credit card. You stop paying interest just to exist. And that's where wealth actually starts. Not when you make more money, when you stop bleeding money. Now let's talk about the most misunderstood part. Why does $7,000 matter more than $70,000? Because a lot of people hit $70,000 and still live like they have $700. They get the salary bump, and then they upgrade their life immediately. New apartment, new car, more subscriptions, more eating out, more "I deserve this." And suddenly, they're right back where they started. They didn't gain financial security, they gained bigger bills. This is the lifestyle creep trap, and it's ruthless. A lot of people don't need more income, they need a buffer. Because if you don't have a buffer, money leaves as fast as it arrives. You can make $70,000 and still be stuck. But if you can build your first $7,000, you've proven something rare. You've proven you can keep money. And that skill is more valuable than income. This next part might sound like self-help, but it's literally the foundation of wealth. Saving $7,000 changes your identity. Before, you were someone who tries to save. After, you're someone who has savings. That sounds small, but it changes everything. Because now you walk into life differently. You negotiate differently at work because you're not desperate. You make decisions with time, not panic. You stop saying yes to things that drain you financially just because you're scared. I call this walking away money. It doesn't mean you're quitting your job tomorrow. It means you're not trapped. And when you're not trapped, you start making better choices. in ways you can't even see right now. Now let's talk about the math. I'm not going to pretend $7,000 invested is going to make you rich overnight, but it does something insanely important. It gets you in the game. If you invest $7,000 and it earns, let's say, 8% per year, that's about $560 annually. That doesn't sound life-changing, but the point isn't the $560. The point is that money is now working without you, and more importantly, you're building the habit. Because the person who can build $7,000 can usually build $10,000, then $20,000, then $50,000. Not because they got lucky, because they became a different type of person. The first milestone is the hardest, because you're building momentum from zero. After that, momentum starts helping you. So if you're sitting there thinking, okay, Ben, I get it, but how do I actually do this? Start smaller than you want. And I know that sounds backwards, because your brain immediately jumps to the finish line. It wants the safety, it wants the relief, it wants to be done with the stress. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Your problem was never that you didn't know saving was important. Your problem was that saving always felt pointless, because it never stuck long enough to matter. You'd save a little, then life would happen, and suddenly that money was gone, and so was your motivation. So this time, the goal isn't to save enough. The goal is to save consistently enough that your brain starts trusting the process. Because trust is the missing ingredient here. Right now, deep down, you don't trust that money will stay once you save it, and your brain hates wasting effort on things it doesn't trust. That's why starting smaller works. When you hit your first small target, $700, something clicks, not externally, internally. You prove to yourself that money can sit in your account and not immediately disappear, that emergencies don't automatically equal panic, that you can pause before reacting, and that pause is powerful. Because once you experience it, even briefly, your behavior starts to change. You stop swiping your card reflexively. You start asking, do I actually need this right now? You delay gratification, not because you're forcing discipline, but because you finally have something to protect. Then you move to 1,000. And here's the part people don't talk about. The jump from 0 to 700 is psychologically harder than the jump from 1,000 to 2,500. Because the first phase is about identity repair. You're rebuilding confidence in yourself. By the time you're at 1,000, you're no longer proving you can save. You're proving you do save. That's a massive difference. And when you reach 2,500, the fear volume drops even more. A car issue is annoying, not terrifying. A medical bill is stressful, but manageable. A bad month doesn't feel like the end of your financial life. You're not free yet, but you're no longer fragile. And that's the real shift. Because once you're not fragile, you stop making fear-based decisions. You stop choosing the fastest money over the smartest money. You stop saying yes to things that drain you financially just to avoid short-term discomfort. That's how the cycle breaks. Not with a giant number, with repeated proof that you can survive without debt. So when I say don't aim for $7,000 overnight, I'm not lowering the bar. I'm showing you the fastest way to actually reach it. Don't aim for $7,000 overnight. Aim for 700, then 1,000, then 2,500. Because the real goal isn't the number. The real goal is breaking the cycle where every surprise becomes debt. Once you cross that line, the entire financial game changes. Your first $7,000 isn't just money. It's breathing room. It's confidence. It's freedom from the panic loop. And that is why it matters more than $70,000. If $70,000 doesn't come with the habit to keep it. Before you scroll away, do me a quick favor. If this video helped you think about money differently, tap like. It tells me this kind of content is worth making. And if you want more videos that break money stress down without hype, hit subscribe. Now here's something I want you to actually do. Think about your own life for a second. What's the smallest amount of money that, if it were sitting untouched in your account right now, would make this month feel lighter? Not the number that sounds impressive, the number that makes you breathe easier. In the comments, write that number, and then answer this one thing honestly. How many weeks would it realistically take you to reach it if you saved on purpose? No judgment, no flexing, just clarity. Because once you name the number, and once you name the timeline, it stops being scary. It becomes a plan.